our primal instincts against us. And that almost has become the norm in our society, amongst our cultures, um, that we expect that almost from each other. That men expect, our women to be overly sexual and always promoting sex within their lives, and women also expect that from men to always show their flashiness and show their money and stuff like that. And um, but how much of our men, our African men, are essentially aroused by the idea of being with someone outside of their race and outside of their culture, and have no belongings now, or no connections now to their community outside of the negative stereotypes that comes with. Not understanding that the cornerstone of the community is the African family. We're the first to want to have the desire that stepping outside of your race means that you have made it. That is a self-identifying and a subconscious way of showing that you are no longer connected to the bonds of servitude, the bonds of slavery. You're not no longer connected to the bonds of racism that essentially plagued your community, plagued everything that you've known. That because of the fact that you have a white woman, that you no longer suffer from any type form of racism, and then expect your community to accept you with the same type of open arms that you're not showing them, right? You expect them to give you the same type of loyalty that you're not willing to give them, right? And if you're really, and the ones that kill me are a lot of these so-called woke and self-conscious brothers who have white women. That is a total contradiction to everything that you're standing for. How can you speak on the black struggle when you are your core values don't speak for it, right? How can you speak for the black struggle when everything within the bonds of your morality and your values is saying don't be loyal, right? Don't don't strengthen the bonds of the community. Don't strengthen the bonds of unionship and marriage among your community. And then at that, the long term effects that having that does have. Then you have children who are biracial, who then end up confused on what culture and what community they belong to, and because you can't teach those type of values because you never believed in it yourself, right? You can't teach loyalty to your community because you ain't never had it to begin with. Because if you had it, you wouldn't have been stepping outside of your race. And I know the first thing that's going to come up, obviously I am a child, obviously, of a biracial marriage, but that doesn't change the fact that cannot self-identify with, obviously, what that means, and obviously knowing, and my father and a lot of these men who are older, you thought that that was the signia of prosperity and success, was is having the one thing that white men cherish the most, right? It's their queens, right? However, we don't have that same type of belief in their own queens. That my belief obviously is that my success and prosperity comes from my unionship to my African queen and the family dynamic that we create, right? So again, to all you self-hating, fake woke, self, essentially community destroying brothers, like I really feel bad for y'all, because of your miseducation that you have, and your disloyalty that you bring to your community, and the long term effects that it has, and the type of hatred that it can essentially reinforces amongst our community, especially to our African queens. They are now the first to have they're the first to have kids, the last to get married, and the first divorced. And that is not self-evident of their own self-hatred, that essentially our own self-hatred that we have for them, right? Because we don't cherish them and value that unionship and bond of the pillars of being the pillar of our community. And even when we do become successful and prosperous and wealthy, we don't look back towards our community or back towards our African women. So obviously we can see those steps being the destruction of them. Those, we can't give back, to our community, and because we can't, because our money and our wealth and our mores and our values and morals get wrapped up into white society, because we have wrapped our family into a European, essentially into European control. Because unfortunately, when we die, our wealth doesn't go back to our community. Our wealth would go to what we call our wives. And so, how can we expect that money to stay within our community? Because it can't. But like I said, guys, appreciate all the support. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, I always like, subscribe, comment. If y'all got if y'all disagree. Again, I always want to use my comments to charge a lot of my next episodes. Also, you guys are interested in joining in any episode. We'll have a few one-on-ones and group episodes coming up here soon. Again, so like, subscribe, hit me up if you're interested in becoming part of one of the episodes, or if you're interested in a topic, make sure you message me or comment below. Right? Again, till next time, stay loyal.